The Commentary Booth is a show for media lovers by media lovers just like you. If you want to support the show, go to jamieappsmedia.com. Welcome to the Commentary Booth, the ultimate weekly entertainment recap and review show. My name is Jamie Apps, and each week I'll be joined by a rotating cast of co-hosts to run you through the entertainment media we've consumed during the week. Along the way, we'll provide you with insightful commentary and reviews. This week I'm joined by a DJ and music marketing executive at Tag Live, who lists their favourite movie as Donnie Darko and favourite TV show as Seinfeld, but apparently that's changing. Welcome to the show, Jaxon Carr.
My friend, thanks for having me again. How are you?
Good, thank you. How's life up your way?
It's nice. I went to the zoo yesterday. I've been a few times, but my girlfriend's never been before, so it was nice. And I actually decided to vlog the whole day, so that's my mission for tonight. I'm going to edit the video and release my first ever vlog. I'm such a hipster. How about yourself?
That is a very hipster thing to do.
I'm consuming a lot of TikTok, okay?
Was it a good day at the zoo?
Yeah, it was really nice. Like, I've been before, but we got there really early and we saw the seal show. We saw the bird show. I'm actually really scared of birds. Like, if I see one on the street, I'll cross the road and a bird flew pretty much straight into our face to the keeper. So, probably one of the scariest moments of my year, to be honest.
I was going to say, if you're not a fan of birds, that's probably not the show to go to, if it's the one at Taronga.
But the worst thing was I'd been to it before and I knew what I was getting into, but I needed to give Ali the full experience. So I was like, you know what? We're going to go for it. I'm going to face my fears. And as a result, I was a good boy and got to have some beers last night. So it was good.
Well done. And was there a lot of people wearing masks at the zoo?
Nope. We both were, because Ali works in film production, so she gets free masks and it's kind of drained into her head that need to wear them. But I reckon 95% of people there weren't wearing masks. All the staff were, but everyone that was there. And it just seems like people in Sydney, the weather gets hot, they forget about their masks, they don't care anymore. So it was very disappointing.
Yeah, like, I get that it's outdoors, but it's also a lot of people and you can't be sure that they're all going to stay away from you.
Exactly, like, especially the zoo where there were slow walkers and whatnot. Because Ali has to get tested every week for corona for work, we know that she doesn't have it, and in theory I don't have it as well. So it wasn't, like, we're fine, but we don't know what other people are doing, so it's not that hard to wear a mask. Or even if you just get, like, a bandana and put it on, it's not as good, but it's better than nothing.
That's good that they're actually doing full testing at her work, though.
Yeah, like, the production she's working on is quite a big one, without being able to say too much, so they've got a big budget for it. But one of her roommates, he works in television as well, and they're not doing any testing because it's a smaller TV show. And they say, oh, yeah, you should probably go get tested once a week, but we can't force you to do it. So, yeah.
I guess it's smart on those big productions. They don't want to have one person test and then it pushes everything back way more than they already are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at least they're going really well with this movie they're filming. And they're going to be starting to film another movie soon in the franchise, without saying too much, but you can probably guess what they are based on what's going on in Sydney, if you read the news.
Be very excited to see them when they come out, without saying what they are.
Yeah, me too. Oh, but she's never seen any of them, so...
Yeah, when you told me that, I was like, how? What? You need to sit her down and do the marathon.
Yeah, I want to. Like,
Educate her.
I tried to get her to watch one of them, and she fell asleep in it. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what it's like. But no, I think she needs to do it for work. And I've got Disney Plus, so I can watch it. I think I'm giving too much away here, but it's all right. It's a bit of fun and games.
Yeah, so speaking of Disney Plus, I checked out Mulan last night when it finally became available.
You spent $30?
I did.
I've read that correct. How was it?
It was pretty good. Like, I probably wouldn't have spent $30 to go and see it in a cinema, but because it was easily accessible and could just chuck it on and watch it in bed, I was like, yeah, sweet. I'd never seen the original, so that probably made it easier for me to enjoy the movie. I think if people had a big like nostalgia and love of the first one, it might not have been as impressive, but for me it was visually really special. And it was cool to have a Disney movie that told the story without falling into all those typical Disney movie things of, oh, now here's the random musical number that just sort of comes out of nowhere. It was just a proper, here's the story of this young Chinese girl who's trying to prove that she's just as good as the boys and can bring honor to her family by joining the Imperial Army, even though she is a girl.
Yeah. I like that. I was a bit skeptical when companies remake movies. So it's good to hear that they did it justice. I'm not going to lie, up until I heard about them charging $30 for it, kind of like an OnlyFans thing. I never actually heard of the movie before, unless I blanked it out of my early years. So I've read up on it and stuff, and it looks really good. But yeah, I think I might just wait. $30, money's a bit tight at the moment, so I think I might just wait until November. Is it free?
It's either the end of November or early December, so it's really not all that long, but I just figured, hey, probably should review that one. It's a big one that people are probably going to be interested in and might be considering whether they should spend the $30 or $34 or whatever it is.
Yeah, of course. And so you say if you're a family and you've got kids, it's something that if you would have enjoyed, you should watch it and like spend the money?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you've got kids that are interested in the typical Disney movies, you can chuck this on and it's cheaper than going to the cinemas with a whole family. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I know I get cheap movie tickets through Telstra and that's only like $12.50 or something. I couldn't imagine what it'd be like taking a whole family. So then you're in the comfort of your home as well and you're not spending $45 on a small popcorn and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I think last week when I went and did the double feature of Unhinged and Tenet, I think I spent like nearly $50 or $60.
Whoa.
Just on, by the time I bought 2 tickets, like a ticket for each movie.
Yeah.
A drink, popcorn, lunch in between. It was like, yeah, there's $60.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it is a bit of a big financial commitment, I guess, but we've been doing it for a while, so it must have been nice to be back in the cinemas.
Oh, it was so good. And it was even better that it had all the social distancing elements in there, so nobody was right next to you making a ton of noise as they chomped down their popcorn or ruffled through bags. There was also like virtually nobody there, so I pretty much had the whole cinema to myself. Like Unhinged, I think there was 6 people in the whole cinema.
Wow.
Tenet, there was maybe 12 or 15.
It's like you're in gold class with the spacing, but not having to spend the money, and you just get your own privacy. Were people wearing masks or?
No, but it was like a full cinema. Everyone was spread out.
Yeah.
And when you buy the tickets, it blocks out all the seats around you, so you do have that buffer zone.
Oh, awesome. Thinking I haven't been to the movies since, I think, The Gentleman at the start of the year. I bought a ticket for that Staten Island movie with, what's his face? Pete Davidson. Yep. But unfortunately I had a big Saturday night, so I slept through my session on the Sunday. But I think I'm going to go to the movies and see the new Bill and Ted.
Okay, yep.
I loved those movies when I was younger. I've actually rewatched them because they're on Stan. Because I actually didn't know it was coming out so soon. Because the whole year's flown by, and I was browsing on TikTok is what I do now. Vlogger, you know me. And I saw an ad for it, and I literally smashed both the previous Bill and Ted movies over the last couple of days. And honestly, the nostalgic factor was there. I still really loved them. Keanu Reeves is just amazing. Acting wasn't the best, but it was still funny. I still found it as funny as when I first watched it. And I don't actually know what the next one's about. And I'm always apprehensive about rewatching movies, whether they get remade or the next one in the series. But the last one, I did Toy Story and Men in Black trilogies after they came out, and they were really good. So I'm going to go in with a positive mind.
So I've never actually watched all of the first 2.
Okay.
Which is probably pretty crazy to admit, but...
Not very excellent, as they like to say.
Watching the trailer last week did not make me want to go and see the new one at all.
Oh, man, am I going to ruin my childhood?
Yeah, I don't know. I watched it and I was just like, unfortunately, that does not look like something I am at all interested in.
Oh, okay, maybe I'll
But I've also never seen the originals, so take it with a grain of salt.
as I said, I haven't been in the movies since like January. As much as I bought a ticket and didn't go, I'm going to get one. I'm going to go. Sometimes I like just taking myself, just go to the movies, like a nice afternoon or a nice night, just away from the world, and just going to do it. I don't really have. Everyone was talking about Tenet. It's not really my cup of tea, to be honest, from what I saw. So I'll have a dumb movie. So I think I'll check it out next week, week after.
That was sort of my plan last week. I was like, you know what? I've had 2 really crazy busy weeks at work. I'm taking the day to myself and I'm just going to see some movies.
Yeah, it's just a really good, nice thing to do. Like, as much as you can watch movies at home and you've got so many different streaming services, it's just nice to get out, sit in the movies, just enjoy yourself. You can just be yourself, laugh like an idiot, cry like an idiot, do whatever you want. And yeah, it's just a fun couple of hours away from the world.
Yeah, that's it. It's literally just 2 hours where you can just forget and switch everything else off. Nothing else matters except watching this.
And it's one of the few times where I know I'm in the cinema, so I won't be on my phone. Whereas at home, unless I'm watching a Parasite or something I know I need to keep my phone in another room with, it's just nice just to sit in there and just be distraction free and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, like as much as you try to at home, it's so easy to have your mind wandering like, oh, I'm just going to check this. And then next thing you've missed 10 or 15 minutes and you're like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and you just need to rewind. And yeah, because your mind always wanders. So, or you'd be like, oh, what's this actor been in before? And then you just go down that rabbit hole. And yeah, just movies is just, I don't know, something about it. I guess because there's people around, you don't want to look like someone on your phone because you don't want to get embarrassed.
You don't want to be that guy that's pulling their phone out and disturbing everyone else.
Yeah. I'm actually quite excited. I'm going to do it. I'm going away next weekend, but when I'm back, I'm going to go see Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
I'm going to go check out the New Mutants this week as well, since that's just came out finally after however many delays and reshoots and stuff that movie has had.
How long have they been is it been delayed for? Because it seems like it's a project that's been going on forever.
Heaps. Let me just look it up, but it's definitely been delayed multiple times. I think it was originally meant to come out last year, and then I think it got bumped to the start of this year and then got bumped again. Like, it's just been all over the shop.
I just looked it up on Google, and it's one of the questions people ask, is the New Mutants ever coming out? So, yeah.
Originally set to be released on April 13th, 2018.
Whoa!
Was delayed to February 22nd, 2019 to avoid Deadpool 2. And then to August 2nd, 2019 to avoid Dark Phoenix.
Oh.
And then it was delayed until April 3 by Disney when they purchased Fox. And then it was removed from the Disney schedule in March because of COVID.
Whoa.
Rescheduled to August 28. Just been all over the place. And I know at some point they were like, oh, maybe we'll just put it out on Disney Plus or streaming. And it was just like, yeah, is this movie ever going to come out? And it's finally out. Came out on Thursday, so
I guess it'd be interesting to think about all the movies and stuff, what production studios will be doing, because I don't know if all the movie theatres are open throughout the world. At least in Melbourne, sorry for anyone in Melbourne, but they won't be going to the movies. America's still a bit of a cesspool and stuff, so they must have to now take that into consideration and be like, oh, hey, we might not get the box office or the money that we originally planned because they start planning movies 5 years before. So it's another whole interesting thing that industry has to look at these days as well.
Yeah, I know, at work when we've been getting press releases for, hey, this movie's coming out, even the New Mutants, it was this is the release date for everywhere except Victoria.
Yeah.
It'll be out in cinemas in Victoria at a later date. And I'm like, well, that's going to be a bit weird, seeing a movie in the cinema 2 or 3 months after everybody else has already seen it.
Yeah, I guess that's just the world. I know at work we announced a country music festival last 2 weeks ago now. And originally when we were planning it, we had Victoria in it, and then, we just had to take it out, unfortunately, because of what was going on. And it's just the sad world we live in, I guess. But they're getting better now, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, is that the Tamworth Country Music Festival? That was cancelled this week, wasn't it?
No, that's the thing. That there's a thing called Tamworth Country Music Festival, but we announced something called Country Roadshow, which is in February.
Yep.
And it's going Sydney, Tamworth, coincidentally, Townsville, Canberra, and there's a bigger version in Brisbane. So, it's just got. I'm not really into country music, but I've been listening and researching, obviously, because of my job. And Adam Brand, Buckley's, I don't know, Lee Kernaghan's playing in Brisbane. Hopefully, it still goes ahead, but you never know in this climate.
Yeah, pretty sad day for country music fans when I saw that the Tamworth Country Music Festival was cancelled.
Yeah,
that's a major event in Australian music.
It's such an iconic event, and it officially hasn't been cancelled yet, but they're going to council on this coming week, and they're going to propose that it gets cancelled and not even rescheduled, and they're just like, we're just going to cancel it. So,
yeah, I suppose you can't have people travelling from all over Australia to come to a country town like that. If somebody brings it into that environment, there's going to be so many people pass away because they just don't have the hospital facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. I know with my parents in Nelson Bay, there was like a long weekend or school holidays, and someone went up from Sydney who had it, and without realising, went to the shops, and there's a big Asian community up there, and they were quite worried about that, but it was actually quite luckily it was under control. And I know the shops they went to, and that shopping centre is really good with distancing, so they were quite lucky. But with the music festival and obviously more and more people, it's such a high risk and it's not worth it. So,
have you been watching much this week?
Man, I've actually been watching a lot now. Sports back. I've been watching the NBA playoffs. I literally have every single game on every day. When I'm working, I have it on in the background. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I'm just loving the fact that it's on in prime time. As much as my beloved Portland Trailblazers got knocked out, I've really been watching Luka Doncic till he got knocked out. But there was an amazing game between Toronto and Boston on Friday where Toronto won with 0.5 seconds left on the clock, and I yelled so loud I gave myself a headache. I was that excited.
Good. Definitely getting into it.
Yeah. I didn't watch a lot today because I had other things to do, but yeah, it's just nice just to have sport on, and as much as there's no crowds, it's just good to see some normality in the world. And the ice hockey playoffs is on, and my friend's a massive ice hockey fan, so I'm watching that, and NFL's next week as well. So I've really been consuming a lot of sport content lately. Yeah, I've just really been enjoying it, and rugby league and whatnot.
Premier League's back next week too.
Yeah, what the? It just finished yesterday.
Yeah, they just finished and they're back.
Yeah, I guess
craziness.
They're trying to get the season back into the routine it was. But our boys Chelsea, we're looking good.
What a transfer window! Holy dooly!
But they reckon it's not even over yet. They reckon we might be trying to sign Declan Rice and we need another goalkeeper. So Roman has just had enough. Liverpool win one league title, and he's like, you know what? I can't deal with this. Let's go.
Well, yeah, another young keeper to push Kepa would be good. Willie's a decent backup, but he's not. He's never taking the top spot.
Nah, not at all.
So it would be good to have another young keeper that can be like, hey, if you stuff up, I'm taking that spot. It's mine.
Yeah, and even if he's there for a year and then Kepa leaves when the Spanish league's better financially. I remember when Chelsea signed Peter Cech, we still had Carlo Cudicini's number one, and then Carlo Cudicini left after a while, and then Cech took over, and then what's his face? The bloke who went to Real Madrid, Courtois. He came in for a year or two, and then Cech left. So we've always had this thing of developing. I was going to say a different word, which is a bit creepy. Yeah, just developing two keepers and then letting one go. So as much as we've had problems with strikers, we've always been good with goalkeepers.
Yeah, and one of my mates was trying to give me crap about Kepa being our top choice keeper. I'm like, last year our back line was atrocious. So,
yep.
Yeah, he might not have had the best season, but you also got to think he were getting some pretty rough shots taken on him, where he had pretty much no hope anyway.
Yeah.
So this year with a strengthened back line, strengthened midfield, crazy up top, like
Thiago Silva. Oh. And with our defense last year, like Frank kept on trying to rotate the defenders, and I'd imagine being a defender, you need to get a partnership going with your other defenders, and it just wasn't working. So hopefully we'll have a more settled squad. Chilwell left back, Thiago Silva, who's got, just give me goosebumps thinking about him, and I reckon he'll be the leader that we've needed since John Terry retired. So
yeah, that's it. Like he might not have the pace of what he used to have, but I think having him next to someone like a Rudiger can really give Rudiger that experience mind to direct him around the park and be like, you need to be right here, and then that'll improve his game immensely as well.
Yeah, definitely. And for all the young players and stuff in training, I just don't know how strong Thiago Silva's English is, I guess, but I'd imagine being around the professional world for 15 years, he wouldn't be weak in any way. So that would give him confidence as well to talk to the players and, yeah, bring it on. And Messi's saying in Barcelona, I reckon we're going to win. I'm calling it now. What's the date? 6th of September. We're winning the title next year.
Oh, big call, but I like the confidence, especially with that front three. They look vicious.
Yeah. Sporting world aside, what else have you been checking out in the past little bit?
So this week I checked out a documentary about David Arquette called You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
Strong name. I like David Arquette.
This is a very interesting doco. So it's about David as he is attempting to sort of reignite his wrestling career, because back in 2000 he was the WCW World Champion as part of some weird cross promotion for his movie Ready to Rumble.
Okay.
And
that's funny.
That moment of him winning the world title back then has been sort of described by wrestling fans the world over as the worst moment in wrestling history, because it kind of ruined the idea of wrestling being real and just basically crapped on all the actual pros that were in WCW at the time.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
Because Arquette got involved in the crazy world of wrestling, that at that point that kind of put the brakes on his whole acting career as well. He went from these roles in Scream and being on magazine covers alongside like Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio as like the next generation of big stars, and then it kind of just nothing happened after WCW, because I think the movie industry kind of just looked at him as like this weird, like, why would you get involved in wrestling type thing?
Yeah, I'm just looking at his filmography now on Wikipedia, and I never actually realised that. I just thought he fell off, but that makes complete sense. Like, he had all the Screams. One of my favourite like rom-coms, Never Been Kissed, he was in. Like, he had a really strong career, and then, yeah, that actually sounds like it'd be an interesting documentary to check out.
Yeah, so it's really cool because it's following him in 2019, where even he in himself feels like he needs to redeem what happened in wrestling. Like, he understands why people hate what happened. So he's trying to work his way back in the traditional way by going to a wrestling school, going through all the like tiny, crappy backyard independent promotions and stuff, and just slowly working his way back up and building a reputation as, no, this guy actually really does have a passion for wrestling and wants to be recognized as a proper wrestler, not just some random celebrity that came in, took his money and left.
So yeah, it looks like him on like the independent circuits and stuff. And then is this something that, without giving too much away, is he still like pursuing it, or do you think this is just, or was there like something you've just got to watch in the documentary without obviously giving too much away?
He still does random indie stuff like on a smaller level. Like, I'm surprised an AEW or a WWE haven't brought him back in just for a little like short run or something. But
yeah,
in the documentary, it goes up to this point where he has a death match. So like a match where they use all sorts of crazy weapons, light tubes, blades, just nuts, thumbtacks. against this wrestler called Nick Gage, who is renowned for his crazy deathmatch wrestling.
Yep.
And it just does not go well. Like, Nick Gage is not someone to mess with. He's a bit of a psycho. And during the match, he's like stabbing Arquette in the head with this broken light tube.
Oh.
And obviously Arquette like tries to move to get away from it, and they slip, and it cuts Arquette's neck like really, really badly.
Oh.
So he has to, he stops, he like grabs his neck, and like there's blood pouring out of his neck.
Oh.
He's holding his neck, and he walks out like, nope, not playing anymore. I'm just done.
Oh.
Walks out, sort of stops for a second, goes back into the ring, at least finishes the match, like just pretty much just instantly just goes, hit me, lays down, gets pinned, and then leaves and goes straight to the hospital and gets like proper surgery to fix this cut on his neck.
Ooh.
And like that's like the end of where it sort of gets to. There's a little bit afterwards talking about he has a couple more matches with Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who is Luke Perry's son.
Okay.
And like,
wow.
Luke Perry was at this match with Arquette because they were good friends, and so this was the match with Jungle Boy was sort of to like wrap the whole thing up because it was just after Luke Perry had passed away, so it was like a memorial for Luke Perry.
That's nice.
But it's like it's a crazy documentary, just seeing the stuff he does, and like he really does love wrestling in a strange way. So
yeah,
but it's a really cool documentary, not just for wrestling fans. Like I think movie fans and stuff will get a lot out of it as well, just to see how crazy the world of wrestling is. And David Arquette's a bit of a unique character in himself.
Because at the end of the day, I reckon majority of people, at least our age and older, because I know my mother as well, would have had some time in their life where they like wrestling.
Yep.
It was such an iconic entertainment brand that everyone loved it at some point. Like I still have like wrestling t-shirts and stuff. I still have wrestlers I like. My mum loves it, and she's mid-60s. So I guess you've got that, which you can bring those fans in, and then it's always, people find it always interesting to learn deeper about celebrities in documentaries and stuff than you do when you see on like socials or you read about in the paper or like whatnot. So yeah, it sounds like a really cool documentary on such a big actor from the late 90s, early 2000s, and him just going off relevance, I guess.
Yeah, especially like when you look back and you go, well, he was in Scream, and then what happened to him? And then this sort of explains what happened and how he's trying to work his way out of that.
Yeah. Good on him. I like it. I've been, besides obviously my sport, I've been watching a lot of documentaries as well. I watched this one called McMillions.
Yep.
And it's basically about how in the late 1990s, early 2000s, this group of people scammed the McDonald's monopoly promotion in America, and they just won millions of dollars. And over like a 6-year period, no one actually won the million or the major prize unless you were in this syndicate of people. And I don't eat a lot of fast food, but when McDonald's Monopoly comes out, I like it. And I was watching this, and I was like, oh, I really can't wait for McDonald's Monopoly to come out again. Look what's just come out this week. So
I was going to say, didn't it just start again?
Yeah. And I literally, I'm not exaggerating when I say it takes me 3 minutes to walk to McDonald's from my house.
Oh no, that's dangerous.
Yeah, but documentary was actually amazing because they went in and they told you about how they came up with the promotion, how it all worked and stuff. And it was actually, the scam actually started in Jacksonville, and so I kept on hearing my name. So I was like, oh, me, hey, Jackson, hey. And I just kept on thinking about the Jacksonville Jaguars and stuff. And while it was very good, I think 6 episodes was a bit much. I think they dragged it out. I reckon they could have done 4 and they would have been fine, but...
Yeah, or like an hour and a half doco or something. It didn't have to be a series.
Yeah, like it didn't have to be a series, but I guess whoever like made it or whatever just wanted to try to get as much value for their money. But yeah, apparently they scammed $24 million worth of fraud through McDonald's Monopoly, and like this, you find out early on, this bloke, he just gives the tabs to like his people, like his friends or his family, or like he's got this extravagant thing, and at some points they flush like a $500,000 tab down the toilet, and it's like, and the guy's like, yeah, I didn't really care. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Crazy. And he just literally just had it on him like it was gum in his pocket. He's like, here, take this and stuff. And yeah, and it's I like watching like documentaries where you see like the detective work and stuff. And yeah, it was good. I quite liked it. And yes, an HBO documentary. So, HBO is always quite good.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of the doco. I haven't watched it, but I've definitely heard that it's an interesting one to check out.
Yeah, and it's on Binge, and being a Telstra customer, and somehow I'm a gold Telstra customer, I got Binge for free for 12 months, so...
Yeah, Buddy got that deal too, I think. He got like 18 months or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. I got this new TV the other day, so it's just... I got the other week. It's perfect. I don't really watch a lot of stuff on Binge because it's just the Foxtel stuff, but it was just good to have that on, and yeah, I checked it out and I quite liked it, and I'm probably going to get McDonald's for dinner tonight.
I've been eating a lot of Maccas and kebabs after darts the last few weeks too, so might have to switch to just Maccas for the next few weeks while Monopoly's going on.
Oh, the worst thing is you buy like a large meal and then you win like a McChicken. You're like, oh, sweet, I'll have another burger, and you get home, you're like, oh, I hate myself.
Yeah. Speaking of Jacksonville, I watched a wrestling pay-per-view that was from Jacksonville this morning.
Oh, cool.
So, All Elite Wrestling had their pay-per-view All Out, and they've been, since the whole pandemic, because they're owned by Tony Khan, they've just been running at...
Oh, that makes sense.
Daly's Place, it's an open-air concert venue attached to the Jaguars Stadium.
Okay.
So they've just been running all their events there because it's open air. They can have more staff and more people there working on the shows. The last couple of weeks, they've actually been having fans there, sort of in a limited capacity. All sort of, if you buy a group ticket, they put a group together and then they spread everyone else out around so that nobody's on top of each other.
That's cool.
Which is cool. It's so good to have the atmosphere that fans bring to wrestling again. Like, it's been so weird watching all these wrestling shows with no audience.
Yeah, I've seen like things on Twitter where wrestlers still like celebrate to the crowd and stuff, and it just seems a bit weird. So it's nice to hear that they're getting fans back.
All Out's like their major. It's like basically their WrestleMania show of the year. They, unlike WWE, they don't have a pay-per-view every month. They just have one every 2 or 3 months, which is...
Yep.
I actually much prefer it. They can actually build towards the stories a bit better.
Mm.
But this one is the first AEW pay-per-view that kind of fell short of my expectations.
And it's the biggest one of the year as well. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it was just because a few of the matches I had like really high expectations for, namely the tag title match between Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus FTR, who were formerly the Revival in WWE.
Okay.
And I just had high expectations for that match because of FTR's reputation. But it felt kind of like a series of disjointed spots. So like, we're just going to do this bit and then this bit and then this bit, rather than a flowing story or fight. But the women's title match and the main event were both incredible matches that sort of saved the show.
Yeah, nice.
But probably the biggest talking point coming out of it though was, do you remember Jim Ross as the commentator?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jim Ross is now a commentator in AEW.
Okay.
But this is really bad to say about a legend. I think he's lost it. He just is doesn't fit with AEW and sort of the vibe that they're trying to get of this upstart young company with fresh talent, just doing whatever it takes to win people over.
Yep.
And he made this really flippant, off-the-cuff comment about one of the women on the show.
Oh.
He asked, did Anna Jay just have a wardrobe malfunction dot 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 wishful thinking, I guess.
Oh no!
And as soon as he said it, I was like, no, he didn't just say that, did he? And sat there and like, no, he definitely did. And it was just like really distasteful and like really poorly timed given what's happened in wrestling recently with speaking out and people sort of being mistreated sexually and stuff. And then he put out this apology on Twitter, which was pretty poor as well. He sort of basically tried to say it was an attempt at lighthearted joking and it just didn't come across right. And I'm like, no, that was just not on.
What are you doing, Jim? Yeah, no, I could see it's probably past. It's probably something that was more, would have been said in the 90s, 2000s. By no way it should have been, but it's something that was more widely done then. And yeah, no place for that in 2020 at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Like during the Attitude Era, that would have been, nobody would have batted an eyelid, but right now it's just like, no, that just looked really bad for not only him, but like the company itself. Like it just made them look really gross.
Yeah. Was there a lot of backlash online about it?
There has been quite a few people, a couple of like the female wrestlers that I follow have just been like, we are athletes. We're not here to be sexualized. Like we're just trying to be just like everyone else on the show. We want to put on the best matches. We don't need commentators doing that. Imagine going back and watching your match to review how you went or whatever and hearing that you obviously probably didn't sign off on him saying and just being like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like that's someone I now have to go and work with every week.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
So I'm hoping that there are some sort of sanctions handed down by management because in the recent past they've given suspensions to one of the other wrestlers, Sammy Guevara, because he made some pretty gross comments about one of the female wrestlers in WWE.
Yeah.
Excalibur, one of the other commentators, has literally just got back from a suspension he said the N-word in a wrestling promo over 10 years ago, and he still got suspended for that because somebody dug it up and put it on Twitter. So
that's good that they did that, though. If I guess as much as it was 10 years ago and people changed, it's still drawing a line in the sand saying, hey, we're not going to stand for this then or now, and at least they can be like to their commentators, hey, we hold you to a higher standard and you need to respect everyone, I guess.
Yeah, especially because they are the voice of the show and they're the ones that have to help the talent get over and tell the stories. So
yeah,
we'll see what comes of JR's comments there, but sure there'll be something done about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything on more brighter news that you checked out?
I've started watching this documentary series on Netflix called High Score. I'm not a big gamer at all, but it's basically on the development of video games throughout the 80s and the 90s, and that's like what I really liked when I was younger. So the first one, they talk about Space Invaders and what they did, and then the next episode they talk about the Nintendo and Donkey Kong, and I actually have a Donkey Kong tattoo on me, so that's where where I am personally, what I like and stuff. The next episode I watched, it was about role play games, so I kind of haven't watched an episode since then because I didn't find it that interesting me personally, but just looking, when I was doing my research for this chat, I was looking and I've seen what's coming up, and I think I need to get back into it because it's a well put together documentary, but I guess with all the sport on in the world and just the role play thing just didn't sit with me just because it's not to my personal taste. It's fallen off on it, but yeah, that's been really good so far, and that's on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen that one pop up. I'm pretty keen to check it out, and like you said, it's hard with those series where each episode has a particular topic. Like if you don't find that topic interesting, you can very easily drop off on the entire series at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But then I was just reading what's on the next one, and they talk about like Sega, and then they're talking about like Madden coming up. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, I need to get back into it. So yeah, I'm happy we've had this chat, so now I can kind of give myself a spoiler to give me the enthusiasm to get back into it.
And yeah, like you said, with so much sport on, like even this week I found it a struggle to get through some of the shows and stuff that I wanted to watch because the Premier League of Darts has been on, and I've just been watching 2 2.5 hours of darts every day.
Yeah, I had that on last night. I couldn't tell you what happened, but I know I had it on when I got home. I just opened up KO and I was like, oh, darts, this is fun. Fell asleep shortly after. But yeah.
It's been pretty crazy for those blokes too, because usually the Premier League is like an all-year thing where they come together each week and play like a series of 5 matches. But because of everything going on, they've come together for this last 2-week period, and they had 4 or 5 days in a row, then they had 2 days off, and then they're doing another 4 or 5 days just to get the season completed.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty big task to have. Usually if they're having a tournament, it'd be a maximum of 3 days, or unless it's the World Championships, where that goes over like 2 or 3 weeks, but you usually only play a match and then you might have 3 or 4 days off. You're not back to back to back to back.
Yeah. Darts is wild. They must miss their crowds though, because darts looks like one of the best fan engagement sports around. People just go wild.
Yeah, they just go and drink a heap of beers and just get crazy and scream and shout. Well,
it sounds like me. Like, why haven't I got into it before? Can I get rowdy at your darts matches? I'll come and be like, yeah, Jamie, woo! Probably get kicked out, right?
You would at the moment because of the COVID restrictions. We can't have any spectators, but
yeah,
before that, no, you'd have been totally fine.
Perfect. As the guy that gave himself a headache from yelling.
You might have had one person be like, can you be a bit quiet?
I can't do that.
You were saying Parks and Rec was taking over Seinfeld?
Yeah. So I rewatch my favourite shows every year, and I've just finished rewatching Parks and Recreation. And I think it's I don't know if I can say it, but I think it's about to take over, or I need to rewatch Seinfeld. But I just think Parks and Recreation have always had the best cast. The show was amazing, and the show ended so well, whereas I hated the end of Seinfeld. It wasn't as bad as How You Met Your Mother, because that's the worst ending of a television show I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was rubbish.
The Seinfeld episode was just like the final episode. It was 2-part. It was like a glorified, let's get everyone back in, let's rehash things that happened, and it just wasn't a nice ending, whereas Parks and Rec, like, they did it really well, how they went from the start, like season 1 through to the end, and even when Leslie got pregnant towards the end of the series, rather than them having to deal with the kids, they just fast forwarded 3 years, and then they started that, and it just worked really well. And like Nick Offerman's amazing actor. I've seen his stand up a couple of times. He's real funny. Aziz Ansari, amazing as well, and just the whole cast is just so good. So I think, I'm pretty sure Parks and Recreation is my favourite show of all time. I say as I look at a painting of George Costanza, he's looking at me funny because I'm saying this, but I'm into it.
Please tell me you have the painting of George Costanza in your house.
No, I don't have that one, but Ali actually got me this for my birthday, and I'll send you a photo just so you can see it's George thinking and he's judging me. But you know what? A friend of mine painted me a Nick Offerman thing the other day, and I'm just going to put that over his face so he's not looking at me anymore. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is a pretty cool painting.
Yeah.
The last thing I checked out, after so many people have told me to, I finally watched Wu-Tang: An American Saga.
I love that show so much.
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good as I was expecting, probably because it had been hyped up so much.
Yeah, of course.
I think I was just expecting something more along the lines of Straight Outta Compton, where it was all about the music.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas this was kind of more about before Wu-Tang was like properly a thing. It was more about their gangster growing up.
Yeah, of course. That's a bit. I love Wu-Tang, and that's a big thing about them, I guess. It was their roots from where they were and how it kind of they all came together. But yeah, I know a season 2 has been commissioned. I don't think they've put a release date out yet, but I think now that sort of the music is starting to come in, like I noticed the last couple of episodes where the music was the big focus, they were the ones that I really enjoyed the most and sort of paid the most attention to because of that. Yeah.
So I think with season 2, if they're moving into them being an actual group and touring and the music side of it, I think I'll be much more on board with season 2.
Yeah, of course. Did you have a favourite of... Did you realise who was who throughout it? Because some of them had different names and stuff. So I love Wu-Tang, but I still had to look up Wikipedia who was who for a bit to try to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I definitely struggled to work out who was who.
Yeah. It was great to see Joey Badass in it because I love him as a rapper. I didn't realise he could act. But I think my favourite Wu-Tang member is Method Man. And the actor that plays Method Man is this rapper, Dave East, who I love as well. And I was like, Dave East absolutely nailed that role. Like, he was just perfect. Like, I couldn't get over how similar they looked, how much they sounded like each other. And it was just, I need Dave East and Method Man to do a song together. It would make my day, my life, make my year.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't after the show. Like,
yeah.
It would have been the perfect sort of cross-promotion type thing.
Unless they're going to do something for season 2, but...
Yep.
And Method Man actually chose Dave East to play him. So, there's the respect, that he has that respect for him. So, yeah, why they need to do a song. Yeah,
like, just do it and I reckon it'd go crazy.
Yeah, anyway. I'm actually looking forward to season 2, and that reminds me of, there's a Wu-Tang documentary on Stan as well that I've been meaning to check out, but might have to wait till the NBA season's over, but that looks really good as well.
Yeah, so that's been my week.
What was your favourite?
You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
Yeah.
It's a crazy documentary, and like I said, it's not just for wrestling fans. It is actually a documentary that I think anybody could enjoy.
Yeah, I think what was that on?
I got sent a link from a friend in the States.
Okay. So
I don't think it's available yet in Australia, but it's coming very shortly. Like it's out in America on demand services, and I think it's on Amazon Prime over there as well. So it's definitely coming here very soon.
Yeah, cool. I definitely want to watch that.
What was your top pick?
I'm going to say I don't really want to say this, but I'm going to say McMillions, but don't go to McDonald's afterwards. It was very good. End of the day, as much as it did stretch out. It was a great watch. It was very interesting. Like, as someone who works in marketing, it was interesting to see the marketing side of one of the biggest, if not the biggest company in the world. And yeah, I'd say McMillions. Just
don't let it influence your dietary habits.
Yeah, I'm actually moving in 2 weeks, and I'm moving same suburb but further away from McDonald's, so I'm happy about that at least.
Further from McDonald's, closer to anything else though?
A pub?
Oh, that could be worse. You can get food and beer there.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's all for this week. Thank you for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at JamieAppsMedia, and you can follow Jaxon on Twitter at Deckhead.
My friend, thank you so much. Pleasure as always.
The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine Jam Zine over on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the Jam publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Courtney Paulson, Tracy Apps.